They say home is where the heart is, so I wonder why your motherfucker always feeling heartless.
Welcome to another episode of Doubly Negative. As always, I'm Chris here with my friend Kyle. Kyle, how are you?
Hi, Chris.
How we doing?
You
know. No, I don't know. That's why I asked. I have no idea.
Well, I gotta ease into this.
Okay, how's your dick?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not being used much since your girlfriend's on the other side of the world, but
Yeah. Well, I find ways to make it work for me.
Yeah, you gotta test it and make sure. I hear if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So it's good to stay prepped,
Yeah.
if you will.
Well, she actually asked me if I, because we'll have our nightly talks.
Yeah.
Right? And she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm gonna take a shower." She said, "Oh, did you jerk off?" Which I thought was very astute.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I do take showers after I jerk off quite often, but
is that part of the routine? Like, if you're like, all right, I'm gonna crank one out, showers planned directly after?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not me. Maybe I'm gross.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you use as a receptacle. For me,
Belly button.
Yeah, me too.
No,
Oh,
I don't use the belly.
Oh, you tricked me.
Yeah. That was a trap.
Yeah. That's what I do. I don't know what else you would do.
A towel that is getting ready to go in the wash or something,
yeah.
or toilet paper, but I mean, that's a problem.
But then, I mean, how are you washing up? Because for me, I'm not gonna feel clean unless I go full shower.
So you're a lay down and crank type of guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll sit up. Maybe maybe we shouldn't go any further on this because we always say we talk too much about our personal lives and then we get embarrassed. And we've talked about pooping our pants and now cranking our carrots. And
well, we're into it.
That's two very vulnerable places
to be. Carrots.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it PG.
You're already halfway in. Let's finish it up.
Yeah, well, sometimes you sit, sometimes you lay. It all depends, I guess.
Well, I think the main factor for when I say I feel the need for cleanup in the shower, a big part of it is the lubrication. And are you using anything?
I'll go dry.
Just dry. Yeah, you're a psychopath.
No, I mean, I don't gotta make it a whole fucking thing where I'm lighting candles and running a bubble bath.
You don't?
No, but that's what I picture if someone takes out lotion.
I mean,
it's an experience for you.
I thought the whole point is enjoyment.
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta just get in, get out.
Are you always doing it like that?
No, but I mean, I'm not making a meal of it.
So you're never using anything?
It's been years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been years since you used anything.
Yeah.
I can't relate to you right now. I've never felt more apart.
Yeah.
I don't understand you at all.
Maybe this week I'll use something and I'll report back.
Well, you got okay, it's been years, you said. And I mean, I know you're not lifting a lot right now, but you used to have a lot of calluses from deadlifting, I'm assuming. That hurts, man.
Well, it's not like a slide. It's more of a, you grab it.
What are you doing?
It's easier if I just show you.
Yeah.
It'll be easier if I just show you.
What do you do?
You just kind of grab it by the root, and I don't know how to describe this without sounding like a psychopath. I can't be the only one that goes dry.
All right. Well, what I'm thinking is I'm just gonna quickly explain it. You get especially from deadlifting, you get calluses at the base of your fingers on your palm, right? That's gonna create friction.
It's not a slide thing. You're just kind of grabbing the skin and going.
Still got to be friction. Wow. Well, I guess we'll.
One of us has been doing it wrong a whole life. I think it's me.
We'll do demonstrations for the Patreon.
Yeah. Patreon.com/wnegative.
Yeah.
We'll do it together in the same video, and we'll just kind of stand side by side and compare.
And maybe we could have a poll too, for the guys who uses lubrication and who doesn't, because I just feel like if you don't at the age of 30, whatever you are, I mean, I don't know what you're doing.
I can't do it on mine. I've got people at work who follow me on Instagram, so maybe you can throw the poll up.
I'll try it, man.
Yeah. But since we've last talked, we'll kind of move on a little bit there. We've both had therapy sessions since the last time. Would you like to lead with yours, or would you like me to lead with mine?
You can go.
Okay, how unselfish. Good. Talked a lot about the anxiety, and I'm being way more open and honest with this lady here. So I didn't ask about the medication though, and I said I would. After I left, I thought about it and I thought, oh man, I should have said, I think I'm going to frame it as, do you think a person like me would benefit from having medicine for anxiety? I think I'm going to frame it like that and not be like, hey, can I get?
Yeah.
I'm just going to move this up here because I'm
I'll
getting
just take it
PTSD.
again.
I just don't want to.
Okay. I think that's how I framed it too. In the first place.
I feel like that's the move.
So what you said, you're opening up. How do you? Yeah. What did you say?
I'm just more honest about the things I'm getting nervous about rather than saying, yeah, the week was good and then small talking for 45 minutes. We're actually focusing on anxiety and kind of coping mechanisms on how to deal with it, I guess, when in the moment. And I'm trying to use those.
Like what?
Kind of just like distracting myself is a big one. So for example, in this last session, I talked about how I booked a vet appointment for Ollie and I was already freaking out about it because he had to get some shots. The reason I freak out about it is he doesn't like the vet. And, I don't want him to like bite anyone. I don't think he will, but you never know. He's scared.
Yeah.
And the other is it's on a main road. What if his collar pops off and he runs into the main road? Which is kind of crazy to think about because
it's a small percentage chance, but it's possible.
Yeah, and that's in my head.
Yeah.
So I was trying to use some of the techniques as far as like distracting myself, stop painting it in a negative way and try to just paint it in like a better way. And it seemed to be working in the moment until I realized after me and Ollie got home, the sense of relief I felt. That's kind of how I feel. I can track how nervous I was during a certain situation. The rush of just happiness and relief I have when I get back, even if I don't consciously feel super anxious in the moment. Like I thought like, oh, it's working. And then I got home and I felt super relieved. I don't think it's a bad thing that I'm still getting that like rush of, oh, it's over. Yes. Because I was less anxious in the moment. So it definitely worked.
What do you mean distract yourself with what?
She was saying, all right, if you have podcasts you listen to, like, you try to really focus in on what they're saying and talking and like, while you're driving. Because I told her one of my mechanisms is probably the same as a lot of people is, oh, I'm going to grab my phone, go on Reddit.
Right.
Obviously I can't do that while I'm driving. I could, not a good idea. But kind of just like really get into what I'm either listening to or
Makes sense.
And just bringing my mind elsewhere. So
that relief thing is interesting. The thought that comes to my mind immediately is the dentist. Because when I finish the dentist, that's maybe one of the things I get most anxious about. Yeah, definitely. Because I'll even put off appointments for a long time. I hate that cleaning.
Yeah.
The scaling. But when I get out of the dentist, that sense of relief is huge. It's very pleasurable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have very intense emotions and they're all positive.
Yeah.
Like I'll get out of there and just text Michelle, be like, I love you so much.
Yeah. It's like you escape death or something.
Yeah, and that's how we're kind of framing these things up that we're anxious about. It's like do or die. And it's not.
Right.
But just intense. I don't want to say euphoria because that's a very gross over exaggeration, but it's definitely a feeling of I'm so lucky I have everything I have. Even though it's as simple as a vet appointment.
No, it is kind of logical though, because I guess even if your fears are irrational, there's still that level. They're ratcheted up to that level, right? Where it feels like the end of the world.
Yeah.
So then when it's over, you feel like you have the world back.
Yeah. And I had described that like when I got back from the cruise, the second the plane landed and I was off the plane on the way home, it was just like, oh, I have this weight lifted off my shoulders that I wish I didn't have the entire time while I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
So the goal is to get to a point where I'm not having that huge weight while, doing these enjoyable things like vacation or even just doing regular things, I guess, but just getting that weight off my shoulder to begin with.
So you said you're opening up about what you're anxious about, but I would think that even more important would be how often and how severe the anxiety is. Because, for example, when you answer those questionnaires and they're diagnosing you or whatever, it's usually about like
1 to 10, like very anxious, like, or
and like how often in the last 2 weeks.
So she'll follow up. She'll follow up and ask, so how long does it last when you get anxious about this? And I'll tell her it comes in waves, but it's a majority of the day leading up to the event. So she asked those questions, and she also asked how severe. I'm like, I'm not full blown panic attack, but it's constantly in the back of my head.
How many of those events do you have every week?
It varies. I talked about the whole, in bed, just thinking about all the worst shit, but I feel like I'm not alone there. I feel like that's most people when they're just alone in your thoughts. You just start going all these places you don't go all day because you have these distractions all day.
I think I definitely have that when I'm not feeling good, and lately I've had that, but not all the time. If I feel like when I've been doing all right, I don't have that at all.
Yeah, I feel like a majority of the time when I'm laying down in bed, at least once or twice before I hit the pill, like actually go to sleep, I'll have something that pops in my head that I don't need to be worrying about as severely as I should be.
Do you have anything like that right now?
That's in my head that I'm worried about?
Yeah.
Not at the moment, but if anything pops up before the end of the episode, I'll let you know.
Yeah. I'll have that with social events.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything planned right now that's making me feel that way, but usually it'll be something that I don't want to do or that feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like going to some place that I'm not feeling comfortable, or with people that I'm not feeling comfortable. I'll zero in on that a lot and just kind of think worst case scenarios, or not even really project, just feel like I don't want to, like just a feeling of dread.
Do you play out the social scenarios that you're gonna have in your head prior to getting there?
Sometimes.
So you kind of like prepare, like,
yeah,
all right, I'm gonna go in for the handshake quick. So he doesn't put the fist up for the pound. I'm just gonna put the hand out right when I see him.
Yeah.
Like stupid shit like that.
And the worst part about that is that, yeah, I do that. And the worst part about that is I know that doesn't work.
No, because curveballs get thrown the second you get in there.
And even if they don't get thrown, it just comes off weird. The energy that you come off with when you do pre-planned stuff is weird.
Yeah, I had that. I was going to see people, our good friend Nick. A bunch of people were getting together and they were asking people to be in their bridal party, and getting there and knowing I'm going to see a bunch of people, not knowing hug, handshake, who with it's that all goes through my head prior to the so that builds up and then you get there and it's fine.
The big example I can think of with pre-planning stuff is jokes. I've always noticed that if I have a joke in the moment and I say it, I'll have a pretty good success rate. My timing's decent. I'm a decent comedian in the moment.
Yeah.
But if I ever think of a joke ahead of time, or I think, oh, I should have said that joke, and then I decide to say it later, it bombs with a huge percentage of time. Yeah, it will bomb because the energy is just weird.
Yeah. I speaking of jokes missed, I at the vet with Ollie. I really dropped the ball. I should have started firing off some anti-vax jokes, and that's why he didn't. I thought about it, and afterwards I was pretty upset. So
missed opportunity.
I'm gonna keep that in the pocket for next time, and it's gonna bomb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I have to get it out.
I think it has something to do with like expectations, because I think when you fire off a joke in the moment, it's coming from this creative, fun place, and you're not necessarily worried about other people's reactions. I think this is the main key: worried about other people's reactions. Because when you store a joke for later,
you hype it up in your head.
Yeah, inherently the point is, oh, I'm gonna look cool. They're gonna laugh, and I'm gonna look cool.
Yeah.
So then when you say it, you're kind of like waiting for the reaction, and I think that's felt.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, right. Yeah. Huh? How's that one?
You got me, right?
And everybody's like,
dude, that's bad.
Yeah. And that proves too that it's all about like comedy anyway. It's all about like timing and delivery.
Yeah.
Because I think content could be the same, but it's all about the timing.
Yeah. I find myself thriving off of situational comedy. Like something happens and I can do something there. And I think maybe because I've always said I wanted to try stand-up, but I never have. Probably because it's not situational. In the situation, when something comes up and happens, I'm quick with it.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. But as far as writing something, I don't know if I got it.
That I used to do it, and I think so many of the people that try it are people that their friends say, "Oh, you're really funny. You'd be good," but it's totally different. You're right.
Yeah, it's because they know you. They know like it's like when you go somewhere and try, a joke that would nail with your other friends, but you're meeting your girlfriend's parents, and they're like, "This guy is fucking dark. I don't know how I feel about this guy." Yeah.
And it's also like in those situations, the bar for comedy is lowered so much because the people you're with want to laugh and they're not expecting a joke
Yeah.
too, right? That's why the easiest place to kill is like if you're doing a presentation and people are expecting some dry material and you make even the slightest joke. You ever watch like those presentations, like a
Yeah.
TED talk,
Yeah.
and they make the stupidest joke that's not funny at all and the whole place erupts with laughter?
Yeah.
Is because the bar is so low. But if you're doing stand up, people want to laugh and they're expecting jokes. Man, that is just
It's like you're going in there, you're like, I have this. I'm getting these are all judges. These aren't people here to see, and well, they obviously are there to see comedy, but everyone's there just judging.
Mhm.
He was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Anytime you leave a show, anytime you go to a comedy stand-up thing, he was kind of funny. Oh, I don't know how I felt about the first guy.
Yep.
And I do the same thing.
And it's also like the context of it. Like he was funny for a comedian, or he wasn't that funny for a comedian. But if you're just in a group of friends and you crack a joke, like you're the funniest guy. There's no comedians around you.
Yeah.
Like the competition is just people that are having a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not expected. Yeah. So that's why I've never done it. I was thinking about, I don't know if I brought this up. There's a comedy club in the metaverse.
Yeah, you have brought it up actually.
Yeah. And I thought maybe I'll try it out there and see if I get anything and then maybe work my way up.
It's just your avatar, right?
Yeah.
And you try it.
Yeah. Even that I get anxiety over, but whatever. Let's talk a little bit about your therapy session here.
All right, yeah. So this is the first in-person therapy I've ever done.
Ooh. Did it feel weird?
It did.
You had probably had anxiety leading up to it. Like, do I shake hands? Do I kiss?
I did have anxiety leading up to it. And the handshake thing, yeah, before and after, I felt that like, should I shake his hand? And I didn't. And even afterwards, I was like, all right, maybe I should have shook his hand.
Yeah. I hope he's not thinking about that too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I brought it up when I first met my therapist.
Yeah. Did
I shake her hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was sitting down and she came out, and then I built it up in my head. I reached my hand, and I was like, I hope she doesn't think I'm asking for a hand off the couch. I was just trying to shake it, so I was like getting up and going like this at the same time.
Yeah.
It was a stand and shake.
Well, I still wish I shook his hand, so I think you might have been better off, even though it was awkward.
Bring that up next time you go in. Say, hey, it'll give him a real insight of, oh, all right, this guy builds up really small.
He's
things.
crazy.
Yeah. So, might be a nice little tidbit for him to know.
So I guess the first thing I'd say is the waiting room sucked. It was like, it looks like it was designed as an afterthought in this building, and it's just way too small. So there's like 3 other people, and I'm sitting there, and just like we're looking at each other.
Yeah.
It just sucked.
So you all got issues too, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
And then I met my guy. His name's Kyle too, actually. That's the lowest level of interesting anything could ever be, but
yeah.
We go inside, and then the biggest contrast is just being in the same room, because I've been doing online therapy for a few months, and I've had 2 online therapists, and it's always felt kind of easy.
Yeah.
Even though like we're looking at each other, but
there's a wall there.
Yeah.
There's a virtual wall.
Yeah. In this room, I just, there's 2 seats. It looked like he gave the choice, right? There's a comfy chair and then a wooden chair. I'd pick the comfy one. I don't know what that says about me.
Yeah, you pick the comfy chair. You see him go to his stuff down. How you doing? What'd you write there? Wicked Larry David. Actually, there is a Larry David skit about that on Curb.
Really?
Where he complains about the chair, and Bryan Cranston's like, I've never had anyone in my 30 years of practicing complain about the chair. He's like,
really?
Maybe get a new one.
Cranston would be a good therapist.
You think so? He played a good one.
I think so.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep derailing us here. So you're there?
Yeah. And so I'm sitting in the comfy chair, and he's, I don't know, it felt like a little too far, but being closer would have been even more awkward.
Yeah. Imagine if you were sitting like us right now.
That would be so bad. Yeah. No, and yeah, he's across the room, and it just, yeah, he made pretty intense eye contact, and I usually do too, and it just felt, I don't know. It was a little uncomfortable at times.
Are you consciously forcing the eye contact? Like, I need to look him in the eyes. I can't.
Sometimes.
I'll try, and then I'll get uncomfortable, and I'll gaze at the forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
And I wonder if people see me gazing at their forehead or literally anywhere else besides their eyes.
So he asked me like, what's going on? That's just the first thing.
Mm.
And I told him, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but I was looking for a specific type of therapy called EMDR. I know I've mentioned that, but
Yeah.
that's why I sought this guy out, because I Googled therapists in the area and I was looking for that specific type, and it says he's trained in it. So I told him that, and I brought it up in the context of the relationship. I said I had some pretty tumultuous times in the relationship, and I was looking for this type of therapy to help figure out my issues. But we didn't stay on that for very long at all. He just kind of started asking me more questions about what's going on, like a little bit of history. And at some point, I brought up the suspicion that I might be bipolar. And he said something very interesting. He said, yeah, I'm usually hesitant to diagnose people. He said that, but I do get that feeling from you intuitively.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unexpected.
It was.
Oh.
Yeah, and we talked about other stuff, but then I went back to it and I said, "Hey, you said that you intuitively felt that I might be bipolar. What do you mean by that?" And he said that it had to do with so he comes from a clinical background.
And just to be clear, this is his first time meeting you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what does it mean to come from a clinical background anyway? I'm not exactly sure, but I think it means like he's seen a lot of patients in hospitals and stuff.
Maybe. Yeah. I think clinic maybe would be in like maybe a psych ward somewhere and not just working out of the office he works now.
Right.
If I had to guess. Correct us if we're wrong. Nick, please shoot me a text.
Yeah, so he said that, and he said that he's met bipolar patients before, and he said that something about the traits that I was exhibiting we're seen in a lot of those people. And he specifically talked about ADHD, and he said like bipolar people, they feel like they might be ADHD, but something isn't in line with that. So it has some similar feel to that, but something's different. Very, very interesting that he said that. I almost felt like I was getting my fortune read by a like a
Did he hold your hands?
Yeah, tarot card or something.
Well, Michelle has that, ADHD and bipolar.
Yeah,
or border polar.
So I don't know if that would be the same feeling he would get, but
I feel like it's got to be more than just that, because imagine if it was ADHD and he's like, oh, you're also bipolar, maybe. Just because, I mean, if he's getting, you got to be excited to kind of keep going to this guy and get to the bottom of it now, because obviously he can't diagnose you off that first visit. He can only have questions, I think.
Well, he did recommend doing the same evaluation that I've talked about a couple times.
Okay.
That Jumblowski did.
Okay, Jumblowski. Yep.
The one that you said you might be interested in too.
Yeah.
The thing that sucks though is, and this is something I've been dealing with the whole time I've been home trying to find these specialists and stuff. It's awful calling.
Yeah.
Because most of these places do not answer their phones.
No.
Like, I'd say 5% or less. Dude, I called, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'll step back in a minute, but I was calling psychiatrists after this appointment, and I think I called like 35 places, and like 2 of them answered their phones. And of those 2, one of them didn't have any appointments until like March. And this therapist, he recommended the neuropsych evaluation. He said, but I happen to know for a fact that all the places in the area are booked out until like February. So
what do you do?
Yeah, it just sucks.
There are that many people getting this evaluation done?
Yeah. He said my best bet would be to like say that I'm available to come in if there's any cancellations. So
but good luck getting them on the phone to put you on that list.
Exactly.
That's annoying.
Yeah, but anyway, so to go back, I was kind of, because I did this guy, like, I got a good feeling from him. Maybe I'm too easy to, maybe I'm too accepting of therapists, by the way. I just realized that I've had 3, and I said the same exact thing about all 3 of them. Like, oh, they felt good, they felt smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, which would be strange because you're a pretty critical person, like, and skeptical for the most part. So the fact that you're very, oh, this guy's good, like, you trust them.
Why?
Because you have trust issues in the past, right?
Yeah, but why do I?
Oh, I thought you were asking me like why.
Yeah.
I don't know. maybe you're just accepting and willing to be vulnerable with them right off the rip because you know they're a professional.
Maybe. But either way, so we ended up talking about bipolar a little bit, and I said like I've been resistant to the idea of medication, and I've been kind of hoping I could figure my own issues out, heal, whatever the fuck that means, and not need anything. And he was kind of saying, well, bipolar is not really like that. Like there's some things that, like borderline personality disorder, for example, you can heal from.
Yeah, they say that you can, like through psychotherapy, you can actually like cure
Right.
borderline personality.
And the distinction that I've been kind of learning from the therapist, this one in my online guide too, is like it's whether it's neurological or not. And I guess that also means, were you born with some genetic predisposition towards it? And from what I understand, bipolar is something that you're not gonna cure. It's probably something I was born with to some extent, and it's just there. So
it's
that
something you have to manage.
That makes it more likely that I would benefit from medication, and it's just not something that I can, like, of course, regardless, no matter who you are, you go to therapy and learn tools to make you more effective in the real world and cope better or whatever, but it's just probably something I'm gonna have. So then that made me even more open to taking the next step, and that's why I called a bunch of psychiatrists, and then I made an appointment for Wednesday.
This Wednesday?
Yeah, it's a virtual one, but I do have an appointment with a psychiatrist.
Did he recommend you see a psychiatrist?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that's a good step to keep in mind. I mean, for me, if I pose this question next time I go to therapy and I ask this, I'll know I have to go to a psychiatrist and make my own appointment, which might mean I won't make the appointment, and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
And I did feel a little bit bad, by the way, after our last talk, because I felt like I was kind of pushing that on you, maybe because I was trying to come to terms with it with myself.
No, I didn't feel like you were pushing it. We were just having like a discussion and talking with my wife, me having a use case in the house that I can base my feelings off of and not using it. I didn't feel like you were pushing it. It was a valid question.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess some part of me is like, the whole thing doesn't feel fair. Not that it has to, but it's like, I guess if it turns out that I'm someone that needs medication and you're someone that doesn't, like, that would piss me off. Like,
really?
some part of me would be jealous. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that was coming out a little bit. And even though you didn't feel it, I think that was something I was feeling at the time. It's like, well, if I need this, then you should too. I think there was something like that in my voice.
You think you're better than me?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I think it's because we've both been pretty resistant to medication.
Yeah.
So being told we might absolutely need it is a scary thing, and you might feel less than, but over time, I don't think that's a feeling you'll hold on to, or I'll hold on to. I feel like a majority, if we were to look up stats on this, a majority of people in America are on something for some sort of mental issue.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's part of it too. It's like, we've talked about that, and
statistic becoming part of that statistic.
Yeah, and there's also been the feeling that, I don't know, I guess that statistic just makes me feel like something's wrong. Like, most people shouldn't need medication. Like, really, more than half, or whatever the statistic is. There's a feeling that something's wrong and that we should be able to fix it. Like, it just feels wrong that over half the human beings should need to be on something, doesn't it? It doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna try to make like a reference to the past and how there was kind of less outside forces that can affect our mental state, like as far as social media and just the constant news flow and how fucked up everything is everywhere in the world. A lot of the things we were kind of blind to, and the more and more it comes to surface, the more and more we have to think about and worry about, and that's probably what's led us to this point. maybe, but I feel like that has a big part in everyone kind of like that statistic, the reason why it's growing.
Yeah,
We have just so much more information available.
it could be too. Like, I think something I do that's not really productive, especially in this conversation, is like I should just worry about myself. If I'm thinking about medication or whatever, I shouldn't always put it in the context of what everybody else is doing. It doesn't really matter,
Yeah, because we talk about how we're all unique snowflakes.
right?
You know, we all have different things that have happened to us in our lives, and the way we think is all different. Who cares if you are different from someone else and need something to help you? They
But
haven't dealt what you've dealt with.
but that being said, it seems likely still that maybe medication is like underprescribed for some groups of people and overprescribed for other groups of people, because it still does seem likely that a lot of psychiatrists are very quick to prescribe stuff when maybe people I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I should just stop talking about this shit. I don't know.
Yeah. My problem is, I mean, we're both very anti big pharma. Uh, we've seen they've just blatantly lied about a lot of things, and now we're just expected to trust them and take what they give us because they say it will help.
That's part of it too.
That's a big thing for me, is just how am I supposed to trust anything you fucking say now?
Mm.
Oh, you're not. Yeah, that could be a whole nother conversation we have. But how do we expose? And that's another thing. The one thing we can do to help us is coming from greedy, money hungry pigs that get people hooked on stuff intentionally so they can keep their pockets full.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have to go, sorry for all the things I said, but help me out. That's our only.
It sucks.
Yeah. I don't want to have to fuck contributing to these assholes.
Yeah.
So that's another part of it for me, is just, how am I supposed to trust you now?
And the idea of being dependent on something sucks.
Yeah. But not dependent on medication, but maybe you're dependent on meditation. There's certain things you can depend upon to improve your mental well-being. Whether it's medication or not, you're still depending on something. When you meditate more,
I guess that's true.
you're in a better head state, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of depend on that, right?
Yeah, we're always dependent on stuff. I'm dependent on oxygen and food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hygiene, you're dependent on a lot of things to.
Not hygiene. Well, I am, but
Yeah.
you're not.
I used dry shampoo this morning. So the fuck what?
Why is everything you do dry, dude? You need
Yes.
you need some lubrication in your life.
Yeah, no, I was gonna shower before you came over, but I got caught up, doing home improvement stuff because I'm a manly man.
What is dry shampoo, by the way?
It's kind of just like you spray it on and it looks, yeah.
What?
I'll give you some.
Are you saying that you don't take a shower when you shampoo?
No, wait, what?
What?
Why would I? No, if it's dry shampoo, it's just you spray it on and it cleans your hair.
What?
Or it makes it look clean.
Well, you take me through this. When do you use dry shampoo?
It's another situation where it's easier if I showed you.
Yeah.
No, it's like, because I'll shower at night
Okay.
to give myself more time in the morning.
Yeah.
If my hair is looking a little shishmetted,
Mhm.
I give it a couple
In the morning
in the morning.
without taking a shower.
Yeah, because I showered at night. I
So
will
you
shower
spray
again.
this dry shampoo on.
Don't put it in air quotes. I don't like it.
You spray this dry shampoo on,
Uh-huh.
and then what happens?
You rub it in and it looks brand spanking.
You don't
new.
wash it out.
No, no.
I'm really disturbed by the number of things you do in your life that are dry that should not be dry.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think what else I do that's dry. I mean, no, it makes sense. Dry shampoo works.
Does it?
Yeah.
I never heard of it before.
Well, your loss.
Maybe.
You could have been benefiting from dry shampoo. It's whatever. Moving on.
All right, fine.
You don't like dry stuff.
Especially not when they should be wet. I mean, you're jerking off without anything. You're going raw into
Raw dogging it through life. No medication.
into your
No lube. No water for the
into
shampoo.
your rough hands. Like, your dick must be covered in cuts and bruises.
And yours must look like it's been in a tub of KY jelly.
That's how I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just glistening.
Yeah.
It looks like a brand new porcelain toilet.
Yeah,
It looks like
it's
it's made
shiny.
out of porcelain. Yeah.
And you're not jealous?
Mine look good. It looks fine.
It looks like it's been to war. It's been through hell and back.
It's 2 tours and numb.
It's all dry and cracked.
Just begging for a glass of water.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So Wednesday is your appointment.
I'll also be in New Hampshire then too. I'm going to New Hampshire tomorrow.
Ooh,
Yeah, for a week.
that'd be fun.
Maybe.
I like New Hampshire.
Yeah.
What part?
Not too far from Manchester.
Okay. I don't know where anything is. I just know I've been to North Conway and that's it.
Yeah, I don't even really know either because my dad was living in New Hampshire, the same part of New Hampshire for so long, like 10, 15 years. And now he's moved and I still haven't gotten used to the new location. I don't know what it's called, even though I've been there a couple times. And I always just think of the last place. And this place, yeah, I'm still not used to it. It's a nice house and everything.
Yeah, we've kind of just surrendered our ability to remember locations and how to get there because our phone just does that for us.
Yeah. And maybe I just don't want to learn new things. I'm just stuck in the past.
I think we always make fun of like old guys, like, oh my god, like get over it. Like that's not how we do things anymore, grandpa. But we're at that age where we know what we know, okay?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got ourselves in the pattern and we've become the people that we've made fun of.
He said snow a couple times already too in New Hampshire.
Fuck that, dude. I hate snow so much.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for the winter. And the whole it being dark, like the whole seasonal depression thing is so goddamn real. And anyone who says it's not is just stupid and dumb.
Yeah. That was one of the things my guy said to me too, the new guy in person. He asked me if I've had my vitamin D levels checked. I said no. And he said, well, that can be useful, blah, blah, blah. But it's not the whole thing for me. I've taken vitamin D and maybe it helps. I don't know. I feel like those things that like help a little bit I'm just over them.
Yeah. No, you want to fix it the whole thing.
Yeah. Because I've tried so many of those little things. It's just not going to.
Yeah.
Vitamin D, get the fuck out of here. But it is real because especially now being here in the Northeast of the United States, because we do have a lot of international listeners, so we should mention that. But
not to brag.
Yeah, we're just not getting much sunlight now at all. And vitamin D does matter.
Yeah, when I get out of work, it's dark. By the time I get home, it's dark. I have to turn the lights on to take Ollie outside.
That's depressing.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I spend all of my daylight in a cubicle.
That sucks.
Yeah. 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
And it's just getting worse and worse until like what, January or February, and then it starts to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I'm over the darkness. I'm over all of it. I want to move somewhere sunny and warm all the time. Even if it's not light out. At least I'm not going to be miserable going outside. Could I move somewhere? Yeah, but we want to be close to family for when we shit out a kid.
Right.
So it's down the line, but it's definitely on the things to do.
Any progress on your kid shitting?
We're pumping and dumping.
Okay, that's good.
We got all good news. We did get the genetic testing back, and Michelle's a carrier for something that can be passed on, but it's a 1 in 44,000 chance.
What's that?
I forgot what it's called. I could look it up. We can go into it next time, but it's kind of like a whole muscular problem that could be passed on.
Damn.
Yeah, but I'm not too concerned. 1 in 44,000. I'll take my chances.
So is that something that it's like recessive, like she doesn't have it, or is something that she could have later in life?
She doesn't. No, it usually, if you were to get it, you'd get it by the time you were late teens, early 20s. So it's just something that she carries that she could pass on.
And you?
I'm clean across the board. That was a scary thing waiting for. I didn't like think about it too much, but because you never know if like Hutchinson's, or is that what it's called? Huntington's. I thought it was Huntington's at first. I doubted myself. I said Hutchinson's. I'm human.
Never doubt yourself.
Yeah, because I have a buddy who had to get tested because his father had it, and he was getting ready to have a kid, and he just put off the testing, put it off because he didn't want to know. Oh, I have until I'm 50.
Yeah.
So he had to get tested to make sure, because he ended up having a kid, so he had to make sure I'm not going to pass it on to him, because that's a big thing. Like if you have it,
It's a very high chance, I think.
I think it's like 50-50.
Yeah, something like that.
So
But he
didn't have it,
Well,
so that's good.
Lucky.
So not passing it on to his child, and obviously not even just the fear of passing it on to your child. You don't want to leave your child early. Once you have a kid, I feel like things change. Like you start going to the doctors more because you got to take care of yourself, because you're not living for yourself. You got to take care of this thing that you just shit out.
yuck. Yeah, I was looking at the vasectomies the other night.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you gonna do it?
I don't know. It's there. It's in the mind. I don't know. I still have this feeling like maybe I'll change my mind, but it seems really, really unlikely.
If you change your mind, you can reverse it.
Yeah.
So I think, is it the men that can reverse it and the women that cannot?
Men can reverse it. Yeah.
And women cannot.
It's not like 100% to reverse it, but yeah, you can. It'd be cool to not worry pumping and dumping.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's fun.
Do you dump or you do the PO?
I'm a PO guy,
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were dumping and just fingers crossed birth control works.
except on the P.
Huh?
Well, I can D when she's on the P.
Oh.
On the M/P. Hitch.
Well, yeah, if she's on the P, I usually put a raincoat on because it's raining. It's raining.
So what?
Meh.
Eh.
Meh. You know me, I'm a dry guy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you're a dry guy. That's right.
That's the only time it gets lotion on it. Oh, I'm a dry guy.
You wear the raincoat all the time just because dude, that's why you haven't gotten pregnant.
It's like when you put your hands in like the lotion gloves and you let them sit for a half hour to help with dry skin. I'll just toss a condom on and walk around the house.
Imagine if you found out like you've been trying to get pregnant for years, and then one time she catches you putting a condom on.
What are you doing? I'm like, yeah, I've always worn one. I thought it's just like moisture.
I just don't want to get wet.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So yeah, when she's on the P, I put a coat on, but
Wow.
it's nice to D when they're not on the P.
Yeah, we're on the opposite schedule, man, because that's the only time I get to D.
Yeah. No, I'm D'ing all the time.
Wow.
Well, I think that's a strong point to wrap it up. I think we've been going for like an hour.
Maybe. We always find out that it's not the case, but
We always because Audacity used to give us a timer how long we've been going.
Yep.
And rather than us go, hey, maybe we start a timer so we can see how long we go.
Do you think our chemistry is getting worse now that we just don't want to spend that much time talking to each other?
No, I don't think so. I think it's maybe just cutting out some of the bullshit.
Like the dick talk?
Yeah.
Oh man.
No, I mean, it's not like we're intentionally cutting out the stuff. I'm just saying the randomness is part of why people love us, I think. Is the episode going to come out today, or or did something happen and it's coming out Tuesday?
I did see Justin, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, I let him know that I was at Mohegan, and he met up with us.
How was that?
It's cool.
Oh, is he still a loyal listener?
He said he's a little bit behind
That's fine.
because he's dealing with a new kid.
Oh, he's a busy guy too. He's an
a very busy
international
guy.
businessman.
Yep.
But
it was cool. Yeah, we had a drink. I think he just had soda water. Very responsible.
Well, yeah, he's got a couple kids.
Yeah, and then that was when I was sports betting too. I was watching the Celtics, hoping they were winning by 1.
You know nothing about sports.
No.
You were on full tilt. You were like, I lost it all at poker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win it back with some of these sports games here.
Some very risky sports bets.
Yeah.
Like, well, very, very low chance. I picked the Celtics to win by 1. I bet $10. And if the Celtics won by exactly 1, I would have won like 300. Man, that would have been awesome. But they lost.
Yeah. So don't bet on things you don't know.
Speaking of, we got to get that England game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we will wrap it up. England's about to start. Bye, everybody. You have any closing words? I love you.
Oh, I love you
I'll
too.
leave it there. All right.
Okay.
This is life being bound to love.